Hi, I'm Melissa Nichols with the Family Attachment and Counseling Center. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and a parishioner at St. Hubert's. Father Tellefson asked me and my husband to talk a little bit about the difficulties of teaching your child at home. The focus of our clinic is really working with children and adolescents and their families, and so I've heard a lot from my clients during this time about the difficulties of home educating. Most of the kids that I see have an issue with attention, focus, some depression and anxiety. And so, unfortunately, schooling online does not help their situation. In fact, it's probably contraindicated. With ADHD, what we know from research is that children and adults with ADHD have a heightened theta wave, and that's kind of a dreamlike state. And what occurs with devices is that particular wave is heightened when you go on the computer, or you're doing gaming, or you're watching television. And so transitioning out of that state for many of the kids that I see often brings on irritability and just problems regulating. The other thing that we see is that with anxiety and depression, those kind of moods are exacerbated with a lot of time on the web or watching television. And so what do you do as a parent when you have a child who has these issues, or you have just a neurotypical child who spends a lot of time online and you're noticing some changes in them? There are new articles coming out every day about burnout with Zoom meetings, and so this is a big problem because our brains are not supposed to be online for 8 hours a day or longer. So what do you do? What do you do during this time? Well, what I tell most of my clients, most parents, is that this is time limited. This type of education will not last indefinitely. And to give yourself a break, to understand the difficulty that you've been placed in, to understand the difficulty of your kids as they do this work and are expected to interact without getting the benefits of that interaction. Also, understanding that one of the issues with online education is that if you have some of those difficulties of depression or anxiety or ADHD, that some of that motivation goes down. The ability to complete something, it becomes more impaired. And so what I have is I have a lot of kids who might have those issues, and they're not doing their homework. They're playing games instead of doing schoolwork. They're on websites like YouTube or whatever. And just to understand the problems there. Sometimes what I've told parents is that they can contact their school. Many schools have a program called iGuardian, and the teachers can go in and see where they've been. They can even block those sites. So that may be something that might be helpful for you. The other thing that I talk with parents about is there a possibility for them to do paperwork instead of online work? Is there some way to break it up? For your part, as a parent, what you may need to understand is that some of this may be out of your control, which is really a difficult place to be. Some of it may be that you can do certain things, but you may not be as effective as you think you should be. But to understand that just the limitations that you place on your child, the boundaries, the consequences, but also the care and support that you give them during this time is really important. And as you walk away from this period of time, you've got many times 3 weeks left in the school year, to really focus on the relationship, focus on what they're doing well, focus on how they're trying, focus on what is good and right and true versus what is not, and to give yourself a break and realize that you're not alone in this boat, that there's a lot of people that are struggling just like you. So God bless you in your journey here, and know that God is working through it all. Take care.